But now for the other side of Quantum Break, the live action, which I feel it's oh nope, not yet there. Um, we're almost there. Which is a bit of
My
like
name is Paul
the
Serene.
we're at the choice part.
I founded Monarch Solutions 17 years ago with a very clear purpose. There are those who would question my actions. I'm recording this as a final statement of vindication, a testimony of how things came to be. I've always been devoted to my mission. Never deterred from my goal, no matter the sacrifice. Because I've seen where this leads. I've seen where it all ends.
It's interesting that we're getting this kind of exposition from Paul, because it doesn't actually tell us anything that we didn't learn from that previous conversation.
Should have arrived here by now. We may have a traitor on the inside. You're due for your treatment. I'll find who's behind this.
Find Jack. That's our priority. Get your best man on it.
There's more. As you know, Jack's level of interference led to unexpected complications. Witnesses from the university were transported here. You need to take a look.
Yeah. So this is the junction where I make choices.
Now I see two options. We could use force, remove any loose ends. But if those witnesses disappear,
The public will start asking questions.
All clear, sir.
Potentially turn on Monarch.
Alternatively, I could mount a broad
Serene?
PR strategy, get the city on our side. But that leaves us with
The loose ends.
precisely. The choice is yours, but keep in mind, the men will view your decision as a unified strategy moving forward.
This is interesting because you're playing as the villain, and ultimately you have to make a choice for what the villain does.
I suggest we deal with the issue at hand. Liam Burke over there can explain the situation in more detail.
Of course. Jack would never understand the necessity of what I'd done. It wasn't the death William deserved. But his knowledge posed too great a risk to our plan.
Project consultant for Project Promenade, witness to core heist operation, capture alive if possible. Notable qualities, history of exhibiting erratic behavior. Okay, so that's how Jack might actually believe that William just needed his car for his own personality core.
The men are waiting
Will
for
refuse to accept inevitability of end of time. May lead to unpredictable behavior. It's again, it's interesting that some of these later
Hear about the library?
Serene brought
later
down the whole
plot
building
points
just to take out that geek.
are basically
Stone
spelled
cold,
out for
man.
you in these secondary
Talk about making a
documents.
point.
Received warnings of fracture from unknown female source, who we already know is Beth Wilder. Briefing, Dr. Joyce will be present in the Time Machine lab during the onset of the fracture. All excerpts are covered. William Joyce is to be apprehended upon entry.
It was the first time I'd visited the Ground Zero operation in ages. The location I'd arrived in when I went 17 years back in time. The location where my fate was sealed 6 years ago.
What happened? Oh, yeah. 6 years ago, he'd had a different experiment that did not quite work out, I
We
think.
had Jack in custody, but I was starting to witness visions from the future which made it clear that could change very soon.
Capture alive if possible, a known friend of Paul Serene before incident. Parents deceased, raised self in teen years, his brother became distant. Criminal record in Massachusetts. Received weapons training in Laos, light and heavy arms. That is very convenient considering his eventual position of having to fight. Onset of fracture will render Jack Cronon enabled. may possess low-level Chronon abilities. Let's see, all exits are covered. Apprehend immediately. Chronon abilities predicted to not manifest until 2 hours after fracture onset.
Sir,
Who is this?
Amy Ferrero. She's one of the witnesses. Awaiting your orders on how to proceed.
My powers grew stronger, even as the Chronon syndrome worsened. I could choose a path that would become the actual future, but it wasn't optional. The moment wouldn't end until I made up my mind.
The junction power reveals 2 potential futures. Your decision at each junction point will steer the stories of both the game and the live-action show. Again, that I haven't really I got into the live-action show, but that's one of the more interesting ambitions of this game. Choose wisely. Now, I don't think I would like to go the hardline route.
Any potential threats to our plan need to be erased.
Wait!
Monarch would take a hardline approach. Crush all obstacles, eliminate all witnesses. It would be harsh. But I had made hard choices for the greater good before.
I dug through the area and I found everything I could on your bro. This is messed up, man. I trusted Monarch.
But the people of Riverport would turn against us. Our secrets would be safe, but the public would hate us, and Jack would gain new allies.
I wonder how that would really affect things. Interesting. Like if that actually does have gameplay changes.
Initialize a PR campaign.
I want to stay.
And that violence was because of Jack Joyce.
Monarch would take a PR-friendly approach and manipulate the public into siding with us. Our lies would give us control.
The manhunt continues as authorities search for Jack Joyce.
Hey, somebody's sneaking around down there. Hey, I think that's Jack Joyce!
We'd use the media to expose, then hunt for Jack.
I uploaded all the files I stole on that USB stick from the Monarch security station.
But the eyewitnesses would be out there, and Jack would learn our secrets.
So, interesting. On one hand, I could become the villain, but Jack would be protected, and Monarch would be the enemy of the people. On the other hand, I could not be, I guess, so harsh of a villain. I would still be a villain. But Jack would be framed, and he would be the enemy of the people.
We can't risk any unwanted attention. Convince the witnesses not to talk. Keep eyes on them and send them home. Initialize a PR campaign. We need the city on our side.
Especially if they want to stay in that city. This choice, I feel, makes the most
Not
sense
this one.
for Monarch.
She's the head of the anti-Monarch movement. I think we're looking at the new face of our campaign.
Jack!
There's no other way out. Going through the machine.
Oh, wait, no! Jack!
Ah, and now we're getting the backstory of him emerging 17 years in the past.
I use my power to guide us. To decide how to best prepare for the inevitable end of time.
Yeah. I forgot that they actually
That gives the
told
chosen
you
few a chance to survive.
their goal.
I've seen the end of time.
Like that that actually makes him a little bit more. 75% of the community agreed with your choice. There we go. Now we're at the live action part. Side controls. And again, it's interesting that they decided they wanted to try for this.
Time's up.
I guess it's probably inevitable that somebody would, considering the popularity of the FMV genre, although I think Quantum Break beat the
The one in the middle.
current
I assume
trends
that's
to the
your mother.
punch.
On the left, of course, your father, and on the right, the little one. How old is she?
Martin Hatch clearly seems a little bit more evil than
114
Paul
Lovely.
Serene.
Is that correct? That was taken not 5 minutes ago by my associate, Michael.
Which is impressive because it's daylight outside.
What do you want?
I want a statement. And you don't want Michael outside of your house a moment longer.
What happens to me?
Well,
This
That's
shaky
entirely up
cam
to you.
is a little bit unnecessary, but still solid filmmaking.
Okay. I'll do it.
Though, if I was going to steal from anybody's technique, I remember watching a YouTube video where somebody was discussing the end of the movie Seven, where it talks about the camera techniques that were used to film
I'm so glad we could work this out.
Kevin Spacey along with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And for Kevin Spacey, the camera is still. It is, it does not move, it does not shake, it's just still footage. And for Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, the camera is always moving, a little bit shaky on that. It's on like a handheld. And the idea of that is it showcases the position of strength. It showcases Kevin Spacey as a position of strength versus the Brad Pitt or Morgan Freeman's character.
Liam,
And that would have been probably an interesting technique to
seems your work's been
steal
undone.
for the use
Just
in
lost communication with
that
Jack
specific
Joyce's
conversation.
How the fuck does that happen?
Knowing how
Like,
is
you
it
have the
important to
camera
decide
on a tripod. There we
when
go.
Connor's working on a location?
Have a camera on a tripod facing
What
Martin
is it?
Hatch, but anytime the camera faces the girl,
Something's wrong.
it's handheld. That way we can kind of
University.
feel how the girl feels based
That's how
on
we operate.
because she's
Have all your operations gone smoothly?
because she's not in control. Whereas Martin Hatch,
call.
Liam, they're in control.
I'm sure your wife misses you.
I don't remember his plot line with his wife going anywhere.
There's Dan.
And I think this is the... Oh no! It's... Is this loaded on my, Is this not loaded on the hard drive? Is this, all through the internet? I'm just gonna skip to the part where it finishes buffering.
Good thing
Oh,
about
there
our
we go.
friend Stan is Stan
Ah!
makes it easy.
This, show has not
See,
been,
the guy goes around using the same username and password everywhere he goes. Now, that means that his cloud
is not great for streaming when your internet service is not that great. But then we got this kind of douchey hacker dude. Oh my gosh.
cloud isn't so protected. May I present to you Exhibit A. Wow, God, this guy's swinging for the fences. And what is that? What are you doing, Brenner?
Coffee cup.
No, I know it's a coffee cup, but what is it doing on my table? The fuck? You know what this is? Do they have these in Idaho?
Iowa.
Whatever. Use it. You tell me what's next, Brenner?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. And that makes me sad for you. All we do now is upload our girl's video to Stan and our friends at WZWY, send Stan a note with some of his private pics, and last but not least, we post a letter. That letter allows Reclaim to take full responsibility for everything that's happening. Signed sincerely, your local terrorist, Jack Joyce.
I.e., Blackmail 101.
It's pretty awesome.
Are they getting people to think that Joyce is just randomly blackmailing
Mr. Hatch,
politicians?
perfect timing. Me and Brenner, we just dug up some major dirt on our news director.
Interesting how he includes Brenner,
He'll
though,
be,
in the...
He'll be running our copy and posting that girl's video within an hour.
Good work, Woodcock. Where are we with Joyce?
that he includes Brenner in his...
I got his transpo. I've hacked into his camera, and I'm waiting to find a locale.
in his conversation. Like, it was probably easy for him to just say, I did the amazing job. Because technically he did most of the work anyway.
Traitor? Hello?
But he actually includes the guy as part of the group.
Was that Martin Hatch?
Get the fuck out of my office. Get the fuck out of my office.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want to work with this guy either.
Fuck. Give me something. Come on, Joyce.
Oh yeah, Liam Burke goes back to see his wife. But yeah, it's interesting that they wanted to kind of push the FMV side of things. Alan Wake had its own like mini series that before the game came out that I sometimes forget about its existence. But then there's also the Bright Springs. No. Welcome to Bright Falls Night Springs is the live-action show in Alan Wake. So it's interesting that they decided to push that a bit farther towards, like, narrative progression. And the fact that the live-action show also changes depending on the choices you make is also interesting as well.
I dreamt you were a cat.
A cat?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a little bit of Control's pictures, and it looks like there is a little bit of live-action footage going on with Control, but not to such a degree.
It was a strange creature. But I knew it was you.
But it also makes for an interesting way to see these secondary characters, because usually if you're just playing from a third-person point of view, you're only going to see Jack Joyce. If you're going to learn anything about Liam Burke, it's only going to be through documentation. Like the fact that you're getting this additional character development for the secondary characters
Your mom's
is unusual for the genre.
Oh, I'm
She's
being difficult, huh?
She's being very difficult.
What? I don't think that's the baby. Okay. You would.
Close your eyes.
Even 2 hours later, even the most heartfelt moments are going to be interrupted by work.
Yeah.
Burke, we got a lead on Joyce.
What is it?
I was able to track his transpo to a warehouse on Burgundy and Wilkins. It's inside Ground Zero perimeter. Sending you the coordinates now.
I gotta go.
You know, does he ever actually explain what he does as a sales manager? I think he said it. No, a field manager. Like why did he just kind of like shows up in the middle of the night from work, doesn't sleep, and is still able to be called into work like within minutes. And this is kind of interesting in regards to the stutters. Like, the stutters happen without people knowing they're happening. Like, the world is ending around everybody. And everybody exists ignorant of their future demise. Because it cannot be observed unless you have your Chronon field impacted. Which is a nice transition back to Paul Serene.
Martin Hatch founded a technical institute right down the street from Monarch headquarters and has helped eager students from all over the country to further their dreams and interest in technological research and design. And with Monarch's greatest investment in the future being right here in Riverport, it's pretty clear how bright the future is for all of us.
Paul, there's been a development.
Jack.
You've already seen it.
Tonight on the island. He'll be there, and he'll want revenge. I need him stopped, now.
I think our focus may be somewhat misguided here.
Your fifth column traitor?
You shouldn't take it so lightly. Joyce got lucky. He escaped. He's gone. He wouldn't be foolish enough to come back. Our only vulnerability is within, Paul. You should see that.
Telling me what I've already seen.
You're not thinking clearly. You need your treatment.
You've been the face of Monarch for all these years, Martin. But let's get clear on something. This is still my ship.
And I simply don't want to see you go down with it.
And they haven't quite explained what's what kind of treatment this guy needs. Just yet, at least.
Joining us now is Amy Ferraro, an eyewitness on the scene. Amy, tell us, what is going on here?
There were people from our group who took things too far.
I like how the background seems like it was shot in front of a green screen, but also
Jack Joyce. I want people to know that he is a very dangerous person. A terrorist.
2 bacon and egg sandwiches?
but also that probably was filmed in front of a green screen, to be fair.
He appears to be such a dangerous person.
What's up, IT?
You wish I was IT. Hey, you don't have security clearance being here?
Security clearance.
Access granted.
I thought you might have been up all night. So...
You brought me food, that's all I need in life.
No, it shouldn't be. It's cool, they're new. Oh, man.
Fiona Miller.
Putting things on my desk. You know what I feel when people
Terminated.
put things on
You're
my
fired.
desk.
So what's the 411? What the hell's going on out there?
411.
Yeah, the 411.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
There was a shootout at the university last night.
People died.
All right. You think they're gonna cancel the party tonight?
Are you kidding? No way. Hatch knows what he's doing.
You gonna go?
To a party? Me? Go to a party. I don't know.
We can roll together if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
He will go to
I'll
a party if there are ladies who will go
Okay,
with
buddy.
them.
What are you gonna wear?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Clothes.
Maybe I'll go naked.
That is the opposite. I guess I
I
went
gotta
one
get back to my
direction, he
desk.
went the other direction.
See you tonight.
Yeah. I'll see you tonight. Yep.
Maybe you should reinstate her in the system, so she's not fired.
Buddy.
Huh. I forgot how much footage they filmed for this thing. Ah, Liam Burke has discovered the traitor in their midst.
Liam, this isn't what it looks like.
Fuck, Beth.
What does it look like?
I really didn't want it to be you.
You need to listen to me.
Step away from the van.
Step away! Right now!
Drop the gun.
I can't do that.
You have 3 seconds till I pull.
I have better reflexes.
And you're a marksman for shit.
No. No! Shit. He's gone. Do you see what's happening?
The stutters.
More and more.
Beth, what is going on?
Time is breaking down. The end is coming, and Joyce.
Okay, so I was asking for a reaction to people just looking down at their hands and holding nothing.
Of time.
So the fact that he does exist in the live show is nice and entertaining.
Preparing for it. They knew it was coming. There's this thing. It's called a lifeboat protocol, and it can save us, at least some of us.
Hands on your head, down on your knees.
Brown.
Wilder, do not make me ask again. Joyce just took down half my men. You think maybe he had some help?
We're unarmed. I was responding
I do not give a fuck.
Hey, I am with Monarch.
On your knees!
If they take me in, then it's the end for me. And for you.
Down!
Just do what he says.
Do not let them take us. We'll never find the lifeboat. Think about Emily.
Just relax.
Liam!
Shut up!
Yeesh. That was a lot of cuts. With that amount of cuts, you could probably climb a fence.
This lifeboat protocol. What is it?
I don't know. But Dr. Kim was at the center of it.
Dr. Kim?
If you can get into his lab.
That's impossible. It's been closed up since he disappeared.
Do you know anyone who could get you in?
Come on, guys. 29 down. 40 more to go. Man. More.
Yeah, I don't think this guy's necessarily trustworthy. He kind of looks after his own ends.
Thanks, Fiona. It's disgusting. Holy.
Oh, so he thinks Liam Burke is the traitor instead of Beth Wilder.
Gotcha, buddy. Hatch is gonna love this. Oh, shit. The fucking golden boy.
Oh, so he actually goes back to Monarch physically to talk to the hacker. And the evidence is there.
Gotcha.
Why didn't he just email the evidence to Martin Hatch? Because then you wouldn't have the drama of them confronting each other.
Charlie! I need a favor.
Yeah.
Could we talk somewhere private?
I'd really rather not.
In your office would be good. It'll be really quick.
Yeah. So what happened with Joyce?
Oh, there's nothing there.
Huh? There's nothing there? He just wasn't there? Like, Or what?
No, Hatch, he reassigned me. He wants me to secure the perimeter lab on the island. He thinks Joyce might go there. He sent me here to get access to it. Can you help me out?
Yeah, sure. Let me see what I can do.
Also, this guy trusts this hacker a little bit too much to be standing on
It's really
this
funny that you
side
say
of
that,
the desk.
That lead on Joyce was no good because, I don't know, it sure looks like he was there. And that other guy kind of looks like you, but that's weird because you work for Monarch, and that guy clearly does not work for Monarch. Now, I can zoom in. Hey, wait, stop killing me, because I just put a high security alert out on your ass. You got about 20 seconds.
You're bluffing.
Hey, you're welcome to stick around and try to find out.
You know what I'm gonna do to you.
I have a pretty good idea what Monarch's gonna do to you. In about 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
The least likable character in this show.
Buddy. 9, 8. We need all points converged on Liam Burke. He's armed and dangerous.
Like, what would he be? Would he be, lawful
Listen up,
evil?
he's on level B, near the main overpass.
Just a reminder to Monarch employees, get your flu shots. They are free of charge.
Like, he wants to enable the company, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily consider his means dangerous. Alas, the only thing this footage is missing is a decent action choreographer. Although, to be fair, there are a lot of actual, like, fully funded action movies that have terrible action choreography, so... Like, the fact that this game is at the level it is pretty impressive. I don't really judge it as much.
He's not invincible. He's not a fucking superhero.
Brenner, I'm dealing with it. Yeah, I know. He's in the building. Yeah.
Like, is he the security, like the head chief of security? Why are there so many staircases that cross in front of each other in this building? Like, the escalators I can believe, but like just where did they find a set of staircases that literally cross like that? Just to get that shot. Ooh. And we've even got driving action going on. This kind of reminds me of, there was, BMW had this thing. They did like a series of short films, all of them starring Gerard Butler, with some sort of driving action going on. And this kind of feels like it's got like a similar quality. I guess if you notch just like a notch below, because like with the BMW ads, they actually hired like bigger directors to direct the action. Whereas this, it's a lot of shaky cam going on, a lot of cuts to the driver. That's a good shot. I would have wanted more of that. That image, that shot of the car coming directly at the camera. Like, if we had a longer sequence of that, then the chase scene would be more interesting.
Phantom team, he's headed to you. He's flying. Look out.
Copy.
Cut him off. Cut. Go.
Come on, you got this.
Also, that's something to note in regards to Monarch, is like they do own the town, so they pretty much have access to every single security camera. So I would imagine it's pretty tricky to hide in this city from Monarch.
3rd Street. He's headed to the alley.
Copy that.
He's gonna have to come up with a better plan. Yeah, I don't think going out guns blazing is going to work here. And this is kind of like an interesting twist, because it's just like Liam Burke is presented as the villain of the as like a villain who's going to hunt down Jack Joyce, but then he immediately gets removed from the narrative as somebody who would hunt Jack Joyce down. But as for what happens next, we'll find out next time. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, recommendations for something to play next? Comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long for now.